All is good. I'm here for you guys. And right now, I want to talk about somebody who's here for his boy. A.J. Brown is down with Jalen Hurts. This dude is going all in on the Philadelphia Eagles paying Jalen Hurts. Let me give you the quote. If you don't pay this man, just ship me off wherever he goes. But have you guys ever hitched your wagon to somebody else in business just because you had a great relationship with them? Of course you have, right? But is there some reservation in that as well? Of course there is. It's like Jalen Brown is sitting there like, I'm about to write a check that I can't cash, but he needs the cash. What if the Philadelphia Eagles calls his bluff? What if they play chicken? They like, look, AJ, stay in your lane. You know who you are. We know who Jalen is. Do not make this a 2-for-1 situation, because what if we're not sold on Jalen Hurts just yet? Think about it. So Jalen Hurts, as good as he was last year, I'm sure upstairs they're like, do it again first. And then secondly, they're saying, even if he does it again, we got to see how that looks. We got to see how this team performs. I think this was a great big ups to the homie. Like, all right, I know I got leverage. I know they loving me over here. 1,500, 11 touchdowns at receiver. Oh, you're special. Jalen Hurts had a special year, but not to the same degree as A.J. Brown. So it's interesting to see them form this Voltron and hopefully go out there and get exactly what they want. But I think it's going to take another offseason for the Philadelphia Eagles to really throw that bag at them. Until then, I guess they're just going to be both holding their breath together. Who is Jalen Hurts? That's the real conversation. Because coming into this year, there were conversations around Jalen Hurts. Is he a franchise quarterback? You know, going into his third year, first year, played at the end of the year, made some noise, but then going into his second year, you saw sparks, you saw signs, but you also had some reservations, right? But then this year, he took off. Now, why should you bet on Jalen Hurts and being a franchise quarterback? Well, it's the same reason A.J. Brown is betting on him. The dude has what you need in a franchise quarterback. Obviously, the talent is on display. Not just the arm talent, and we saw that looking great this year, finally looking like franchise level of quarterback talent. But it's the intangibles, the things you don't see, but you obviously notice about Jalen Hurts that are special. Anybody who's been around the game, you know that you always bet on a worker and a man of character. Trust me. All these guys that can run and jump and got all those muscles, yeah, they seduce you to make you want to bet on them. But be careful. Keep a couple bucks in your pocket on those guys, because a lot of those guys don't pan out because on the inside, they don't have those intangibles, the things that you can't measure, but they just come out in display in every single way. We all know that Nike ended its relationship with Kyrie Irving and his sneaker deal that he had with him, which was a lucrative deal. And more importantly, those shoes were selling. Kyrie was top 3 in terms of Nike sales, in terms of their shoes in basketball. And you got to think of all the athletes, all the players they have in basketball. I'm talking about LeBron. I'm talking about Paul George. I'm talking about obviously Jordan, etc. Kyrie was out there slanging them. And then all of a sudden the relationship ended. And we obviously know why. We all know that Nike ended its relationship with Kyrie Irving and his sneaker deal that he had with him, which was a lucrative deal. And more importantly, those shoes were selling. Kyrie was top 3 in terms of Nike sales, in terms of their shoes in basketball. And you got to think of all the athletes, all the players they have in basketball. I'm talking about LeBron. I'm talking about Paul George. I'm talking about obviously Jordan, etc. Kyrie was out there slanging them. And then all of a sudden the relationship ended. And we obviously know why. That why was the most bullshit why I think I've ever seen in terms of a major relationship that is profitable for both sides ending the way it ended. They basically made the stance that Kyrie Irving sharing some information was worse than those who produced it, who distributed it, and who profited from it. Think about that. Kyrie Irving, not mentioning what way or how he felt about anything, sharing something that was deemed harmful or hateful, but just sharing it was deemed worse than the entities that not only produced it, but distributed it and then made money off of it. You don't get it yet? Well, that's basically like the newspaper out there actually being worse than the criminal. The newspaper, because it's sharing the information, is actually worse than the crimes they cover. We all know that Nike ended its relationship with Kyrie Irving and his sneaker deal that he had with him, which was a lucrative deal. And more importantly, those shoes were selling. Kyrie was top 3 in terms of Nike sales, in terms of their shoes in basketball. And you got to think of all the athletes, all the players they have in basketball. I'm talking about LeBron. I'm talking about Paul George. I'm talking about obviously Jordan, etc. Kyrie was out there slanging them. And then all of a sudden the relationship ended. And we obviously know why. That why was the most bullshit why I think I've ever seen in terms of a major relationship that is profitable for both sides ending the way it ended. They basically made the stance that Kyrie Irving sharing some information was worse than those who produced it, who distributed it, and who profited from it. Think about that. Kyrie Irving, not mentioning what way or how he felt about anything, sharing something that was deemed harmful or hateful, but just sharing it was deemed worse than the entities that not only produced it, but distributed it and then made money off of it. You don't get it yet? Well, that's basically like the newspaper out there actually being worse than the criminal. The newspaper, because it's sharing the information, is actually worse than the crimes they cover. But now, Kyrie Irving's still going to wear his shoes. They stopped producing the shoes. But guess what? I think I got 10,000 boxes in my home office and my home studio and my home closet. Like, that's how many rooms you need when you're Kyrie Irving with all those shoes. And he's sitting there like, bruh, I'm still going to wear them, but obviously I am not going to let you guys profit and have these shoes on full display with the logo. So Kyrie Irving's been out there covering up the logo. Some of the sayings on there has been, quote, logo here, I am free, thank you God, I am, and free all of my people. But to this point, it's almost weird, like, what should Kyrie Irving do right now, right? You gonna keep wearing the cover up Nikes, or you gonna start your own line? When you hear reports right now that Kanye West and Adidas are in conversations to rekindle that relationship. I wonder why. Well, there are reports that Adidas lost north of $1 billion, right? Austin Powers style. I mean, you talk about a B, and all of a sudden they look at the same guy that they were like, psh, be gone, a little differently, right? It's time to talk about the big boys. Yes. And LeBron James eats like a fat boy, but he doesn't look like one. Tristan Thompson says LeBron has the worst fucking diet ever. Well, let's talk through it. We're all humans, and then there's LeBron James in terms of physique, in terms of stature, right? But my boy, my neighbor actually, Tristan Thompson, talked about LeBron's diet, and I knew that this was going to hurt because everybody looks at a LeBron James and you're like, oh, no wonder he looks like that. Kale salad every day, a little hummus when he's really trying to be frisky. Other than that, I know he eats lean and mean. Not according to his boy, Tristan Thompson, who says LeBron James has, quote, the worst fucking diet ever. Ask him what he eats for breakfast. He has like 5 French toast, drowns it in syrup with strawberries and bananas. Then he has like a 4-egg omelet, and then he goes and just fucking dunks on somebody. It doesn't make sense. Man, oh my God, this is crazy to those who don't know athletes like I know athletes, and like Tristan Thompson even knows. I remember way back you were hearing about stories from different sports, and you hear about how many calories guys would eat, and you're like, insane numbers, 5, 6, 7, 12,000 calories a day, and you're like, what? Ain't no way. But we're all different. We're all built different, and we all have different engines no matter what our car looks like, right? So obviously that metabolism on LeBron James, that sucker is revving. But look how many calories he burns being LeBron James. I know I've been in that position before, going from my ex to my next. And as much as we try to act tough, Like, oh man, I ain't tripping. Like, how many dudes you seen when they break up? Oh, I'm good, I'm good. Man, stop lying. I swear all of us turn into stalkers. I'm serious, stalkers. The only difference between us and real stalkers is they get caught. We don't get caught. But let's talk about what we really do. You know damn well Tom Brady's sitting somewhere right now scrolling. Hey, wait a minute. Oh, Giselle. Man, I ain't unfollow her yet. Okay, let me see. Oh, okay, okay. And then you know at the end of a reel it always says watch again. Then his hands start shaking. He's like, man, I don't want to see this again. I don't want to see this again. And then here we go again. She's shaking, she's shaking. Like, oh, I remember that shake. I remember that shake. And then he's like, all right. But Tom Brady, in that moment, like, how do you feel? It's crazy because not only is that your ex, and that's one level of commitment. That's not eternal commitment. Marriage is not eternal commitment. Eternal commitment is that is the mother of your children. Eternal commitment is you're always going to be the father to her kids. That means y'all always going to be connected. You married without kids and get divorced, y'all ain't even got to ever speak again. It's a wrap. It's done. But this is different. Y'all always entangled. And that's emotionally as well. So you're sitting there like, man, what is going on? Rich is being happy with your portion. Say it again. Rich is being happy with your portion. God, that is so good. You know why? Because me, like many of you guys probably, grew up poor, right? And then when you get $5 in your pocket, you become an adult, you take care of your own family, you grow your own family, people always want you to reflect and talk about how you grew up. And it's funny, so many of my friends and so many people I know with similar backgrounds all say, you know what? I never felt poor. Why? Because really rich is being happy with your portion. We didn't have a lot, but it filled us. It fulfilled us. We were just happy with what we had. Didn't even know and wasn't fully aware of what was out there. And more importantly, what we were missing out on. I had no idea. And that's the craziest thing about it. Until you get it and then you're like, oh, now I know how poor we really were because of how much I have now. But in those moments, rich is just being happy with what you got.